Has been made in the case of a newborn baby abandoned in Penn Station. That baby in the hospital in stable condition. But this heartbreaking story really leading us to explore safe and legal ways that mothers can give up their babies.
The hospital is one of the safe haven locations where she could have been dropped off rather than left in the subway. So here to give us an overview of New York's safe haven laws is the Deputy Commissioner of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, Gail Geohagen-Pratt. So good morning to you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us this morning.
Good morning. Absolutely glad to be here.
So can you kind of lay out exactly what the safe haven laws say and where are the locations across the 5 boroughs where it's safe to drop off an infant?
Sure. So the safe haven laws were enacted in New York State initially in July of 2000, and it provided the ability for a parent to be able to safely surrender a newborn child. The requirements under the law is that it's an appropriate person or a suitable location. So we think of those natural connections that folks look to in terms of where you reach out for help. So police stations, firehouses, hospitals, those are the types of resources that would be captured in terms of being able to drop off a child that a parent is no longer able to care for, a newborn child.
Is it true also that the local bodega, which is really a staple for so many in communities, that is a safe haven to drop off a baby?
So I will say, again, the emphasis is on really suitable and safe locations. You want to be where you're placing the child, you want to know that someone is in a capacity to act on behalf of that child, because once that child has been dropped off, then there's actions required in terms of assessing the safety of the child and then making a plan for a child. So again, thinking of those entities that may be more equipped to be able to take those next steps and actions.
So no. Right.
Would not be considered in the broad scheme.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So do parents face any legal ramifications, though, if they surrender their child under the safe haven laws?
The safe haven laws were amended in 2010, and part of that amendment was that the parents do not face criminal liability if they drop the child off with an appropriate person or in a suitable location, that they notify that the child has been dropped off so actions can be taken. The parent can remain anonymous. They do not need to provide their name, but just giving awareness that the child has been dropped off. So again, the appropriate actions can be taken to then attend to that child.
You know, Monday's case is just a little different since the newborn baby was left in a subway station. So is there any support available for the mother in this case now that we know who she is? She's under arrest.
So you think about what led up to the decision to do that. So looking at it from that standpoint, really being able to have the ability to connect with the mother and to be able to assess and gather information in regards to what led up to that decision, what were the circumstances as to why that was the choice that was made, and then based on that, being able to assess what might be the supports that might be needed.
Okay. Does the law apply to just infants or children of any age?
It applies for infants up to 30 days old.
Up to 30 days old.
Up to 30 days.
Earlier this year, we also covered this tragic story of a 3-year-old, King Davis, who was left outside of a hospital in Brooklyn, and unfortunately that child did not survive. So are there safe haven programs, I guess, for parents who are having a hard time with their older children?
Okay. So there are programs, community-based services and supports, clinical supports that are available. And I will say New York City specific, there are family enrichment centers through the Administration for Children's Services, or ACS as it's commonly known. They have a broad-based spectrum of services and supports for families, inclusive of their family enrichment services programs. They have an EASE program that is targeted to youth, 10 to 15. So there are programs and services available in the community to support children and families when there is a need for that resource and support.
You know, I think that sometimes parents, though, find themselves in a situation where they're just frustrated. They don't know what to do. Is there any kind of like emergency hotline or service like that can be at that moment where they're about to lose their patients, that they can call and ask for help with a child?
So again, the services and support, such as the community-based, oftentimes when the connections are made, they do have a link to be able to reach out when needed. I think this is an area that we think about just sort of globally in terms of recognizing that, when you are in the midst of a crisis, being able to have the access to support, especially if you don't have it readily available amongst family and friends. I will say that, we know that there is mobile crisis support, and that is another resource that is available if there is an immediate need to reach out and connect to someone, because the realities are that, there are moments where it does become very challenging when you're trying to support your children.
And we do have that Safe Haven hotline on our screen right now as well.
I just have a question. I'm a dad of an adopted girl. What happens to the child after they are surrendered to the safe haven? What happens to them?
So foster care would then come into place, and so locating a safe and stable foster home to be able to support that child.
Got it.
All very important information to know. We appreciate you taking the time, Deputy Commissioner.
No, thank you, and congratulations on adopting. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
He's a great dad, by the way. Really one of the best.
Right.
He's one of the best. All right. If you or someone you know, though, is in need of the Safe Haven Act, so please call that hotline we have right there on your screen for more information. It's 1-866-505-SAFE.